You know, I had to do my work behind the scenes, you know, like you did. I had to earn my way. And I didn't know that I was going to ever get the credit for it or ever get the results for it. So I know what it's like to be unknown and to, you know, not have the lights on you and to want to be seen and want a scholarship to a big school and things like that. I was behind the scenes doing the work.
It's interesting because it's not like, you know, my path to tech was like everyone else's. You know, it's not like I woke up every day and I looked for an industry to go into and tech was it. That wasn't the case at all. You know, truth be told, you know, that's where God put me, right? Like that's where my journey led me. And now I'm here. Now I'm in tech. All I know right now is that I'm a contractor. I know that instead of $17 an hour, like my 2 contracts ago, I'm at $19 an hour. So I'm feeling good, right? So I'm feeling a lot better. It still wasn't that much, but for me it was a lot because, you know, when I walk into this tech company, it was a startup. AirWatch was a startup. So when I walk in and I see this building, I saw the unlimited amount of resources that they had, and I couldn't believe it. I walk in, you know, they had the security guard. His name is Eugene, still friends with Eugene to this day. You know, he greeted me, treated me very nicely. Awesome, man. There was a receptionist at the time. I forget her name. We had so many, but I remember every receptionist and face, their personality, how nice they were. And I was just like, man, like, this is pretty cool. I haven't been helped like this, greeted like this. And then you walk into the building after you get your badge, and then I saw, you know, as I'm going towards my team's area, I saw this kitchen, and inside this kitchen I saw free stuff. That's the only way I can describe it. Free stuff. That's how I saw it. They had snacks everywhere, a Coke machine, tea, coffee. You know, there are different types of food that you can grab and warm up. Man, listen, this is somebody who has. So what? So if I'm at 19 right now, then I had what, like, I don't know, maybe $120 in my bank account every 2 weeks, right? Like once you buy groceries, that's it, right? You done for. You done for. So, you know, I see all this stuff. I'm like, man, I gotta, you know, after this first day, I'm gonna have to go grocery shopping. I ain't gonna lie to you. But you know, I just remember that. Outside of that, as I'm walking towards our team area, and then I'm meeting my manager. Like I said, Yoshika Lowe is the one that hired me, but the first person who I met when I walked into the company was someone who became significant to my career, a good friend of mine named Riley Smith, still friends with to this day. So you know, Riley's training me, he's taking me through the process. And one thing I learned about corporate versus about the startup company versus the last role that I was at was that the processes in a startup aren't there. You're pretty much creating it. You know, I got lucky enough to be in a startup where someone like Riley and Yoshika were already there because they were building a very strong foundation, but it wasn't complete. So now I got lucky enough to be a part of something that was being built. That was awesome. I couldn't wait to be a part of it. But as I'm learning about the company and going through all this orientation, outside of the free grocery store, I also see that the full-time employees had benefits that I didn't even know existed in a corporate setting. You know, there was, outside of your standard medical and dental and vision, outside of those, outside of that insurance, they also had continued education, which was wild to me. You can use a certain stipend to continue your education in any area. It didn't have to be college. It could be a certification in something. It could be a conference. It could be anything really that helps you get better as a professional. So I'm looking at this and now I know this. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I can't play around, right? Like I gotta get converted, and I need to get converted quick. That was the term that they used, conversion to, if you're going from a contractor to a full-time employee. The contract that I had was, I think it was a 6 month contract, but they extended it out every single 6 months. So it wasn't like, once the 6 months is over, it's over. So I wasn't really concerned about that. The only thing I was concerned about was getting converted. So now I finished my training. Me and Riley go back to our, probably after a few days, we go back to our team area. Now we're busy doing our work. And Riley was a very, very good trainer, but he was very focused, dedicated. He wasn't somebody that was just trying to be there just to be there. He was trying to make an impact, and that's what I like. So I'm thinking the whole team has this mentality. When I go to the floor, I'm looking around and these people full-time employees? They chilling. They chilling. They not worried about. They're not on the same mentality that I was on. They were probably making enough money where they weren't looking at that kitchen like a free grocery store. They were just like, oh, nice, the same old snacks, all right? Which I can understand if you've been there for a while. But in my head, I'm like, oh no, they sleep. They sleep. Because, I'm asking people what they did with their continued education stipend. They're like, my what? What do you mean, my continued They weren't even thinking about that. They weren't even considering that. They were considering doing their job and going home. They weren't worried about that, right? So how I see it, oh man, if they don't understand the value and the benefit, or if they don't care, then I'm about to care enough for all of us. So any opportunity I saw to step up, I raised my hand for sure. It didn't matter what it was either. I remember we had an email go out by like a senior manager at the time, super awesome person. Her name is Amy Hunter. She also played a huge part of my career too. She's like, hey guys, I need somebody that can do this, whatever. It was like an extra assignment. And she offered like, some lunch money or something, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm with it regardless. Like lunch money, a pencil, I don't care. Like I just, whatever you do, just know I'm here for you in the future. And that's how I approached it every single day. So here's one thing I didn't realize how the situation was in corporate. And this is my first thing that I had to learn. Even though I was busting my butt and working harder than every single other contractor, and outside of just the contractors, every other employee in my section, there was probably one or two like Riley or someone else who was probably much more talented than I was at the time. There was no one else really out there hustling like me. So when it's time for conversions, once the budget comes around, I'm thinking I'm next. What I had to learn was there was an order. There was someone who was there before you, so unfortunately we're gonna convert them. It doesn't matter how much harder you working than that person. We like that person. They're not as talented as you, or they don't work as hard as you, but it's all good. And we have to bring them onto the team. So that kind of bugged me. I was just like, wow, this person is definitely not doing what I'm doing, but they're likable, so that's all that matters. Okay, well that's the lesson I learned in the world. So okay, it's not just about your hard work, it's about how likable you are. So I had to learn how to politic quick. So now at this point, our leader Yoshika now takes another opportunity. So now my boy Riley becomes my boss, and our team was small. It was probably like four or five people. So it's probably a year now, a year and some change go by, and I'm like bringing up to him every single time, like, yo, Riley, bro, I need to get converted, man. Like, I see what full-time employees, I see what they bringing in, and I see what benefits they have, and I'm trying to get there, right? Like, I see other people getting converted far quicker than a year in other teams and other organizations. And that's something that you shouldn't do in your career, by the way. Never compare yourself to anyone else. It could be devastating for you. But I didn't, at that point, I didn't care. I was like, yo, I see what other people are getting. I need that. So, Riley he was trying his best. Man, at this point, I was building my resume and building my skills up. Man, I had a offer from another company called Verity, and it was for a good amount of money. And I didn't want to leave AirWatch, but I came to Riley. I was like, hey, bro, listen, I got this offer and I might be out. You know what I mean? Like, I can't keep waiting. I keep getting promised about this position, but it doesn't appear to be happening. Riley looked at me. He goes, give me some time. Give me a few days. And I said, all right, bro, but look, I got to turn this offer in. like, I can't mess around, bro. It's guaranteed money. So, you know, just like he promised, he came to me a couple days later and he was like, look, man, I can't get you converted right now, but I can match your salary. And if, you know, I'll work with you on that, but just right now, bro, I can match your salary. And, you know, I was thinking like, well, you know, that's not benefits, that's not this, that's not that, but I love to play so much and I love that team so much. I was like, you know what? The fact that you even looking out for me, giving me some extra bread, yeah, I'll wait. Let's do it. So I waited, you know, I stuck with it. And maybe about 3 months later, I got the call from Riley, said, hey man, I want to convert you. And that's how I went from a contractor to a full-time employee. Now, one thing I would tell any and every contractor, do not worry about what anyone else is doing. I had to learn that lesson. You know, my mind was so focused on what they have, I wasn't really appreciating the opportunity that I got. Because look, a year ago from that point, what did I have? What did I have? I didn't have anything. So to go a year later, to be inside a company, to be getting that level of knowledge, to be building a business from, like, that's your third career opportunity, and you're building a business, you don't realize the impact of what you're doing. That's because if you're busy looking over there and you're wondering, oh, but they got this, they got that, you're not gonna pay attention to what you have, and you're gonna miss out on a big thing. So that's one lesson that I learned for sure, being a contractor. Yeah, I got converted. Also too, don't be afraid to negotiate. I didn't even understand that was a thing. You know, when you make an impact and you know that you know your value, don't be afraid to use that in your conversations with your manager. Your manager's job is to also make sure that his or her team is situated perfectly, and they don't want to lose a good asset. So, you know, don't use it as a, you know, don't hold a pistol to your employment, but at the same time, understanding your value. And that's something I had to learn too. So yeah, I say the life of a contractor is still constant grinding, because you know that's not guaranteed money. Then you know you need hours. You know, I was looking at them taking holidays and looking at me like, yo, if it's a holiday, I'm missing out on some bread. Like, this gonna kind of suck. You know what I mean? And I was very vocal about it. I was like, man, I ain't trying to take off tomorrow. I need some money. So, you know, just have the mentality and the mindset of, you know, do what you got to do to make sure that you stand out, regardless of what anyone else is doing, regardless of if everyone else is chilling. Because that was the case for me. I saw it. I saw people chilling, but that never stopped me. I took every single opportunity that I had. Every single opportunity that I had. Every single one. When I saw it, I said, yes. Give it to me, I'll do it. Oh, it's a conference downstairs, I'm going. Oh, it's a meeting, an optional meeting, and I can build my network. Oh, I'm there. Say less. So have that same mentality. I know an HR recruiter, or excuse me, a talent acquisition recruiter, and she was a contractor for 7 years. And I can tell you something, I would have never known that she was a contractor. She was the greatest, I mean, literally the greatest recruiter for me personally, because of her energy, because of her effort, her dedication. And I never knew she was a contractor until she told me, like, years later, that she was a contractor for 7 years and she finally got converted. And I'm so happy for her. And obviously she's going to continue to do great things, but have that mentality. Don't worry about the at AirWatch and VMware, it was a C next to my name. You know, don't worry about the C next to your name. Don't worry about that. Only you're gonna see that. No pun intended. Just do what you gotta do, and trust me. Trust me before you know it. You'll get rewarded for your efforts.